The starship Horizon glided silently through the violet clouds of the Zytherian system. Commander Elias Varn stood on the observation deck, his hands clasped behind his back. The view of the capital planet below was breathtaking. Giant cities floated on streams of shimmering light, crystal towers stretching toward the sky. Rivers of liquid silver flowed through alien landscapes, glowing faintly in the evening twilight. It was beautiful, but it was also intimidating. Elias had been chosen as humanity's first official diplomat to the Zytherians, a race known throughout the galaxy for their intelligence, pride, and unpredictability. Many humans had speculated what kind of reception the Zytherians would give. Some thought it might be warm. Others feared it could be hostile. Elias felt a mixture of excitement and unease. "Commander," said Lieutenant Mara, his second in command, stepping up beside him. "Sensors show the Royal Fleet is preparing a ceremonial escort." Elias nodded. "Good. Let's hope this ceremony goes smoothly. One wrong step, and we could ruin decades of diplomatic effort." Mara smiled faintly. "You're good at navigating pressure, sir. Humans have a reputation for boldness. Maybe that's what they want to see." Elias didn't respond immediately. Boldness could be dangerous here. The Zytherians were proud and secretive. Their culture was built on tests of skill, intelligence, and trust. He had studied their history, their rituals, and their legends. Still, he felt that no amount of preparation could fully predict what awaited him. The starship descended slowly into orbit. Below, the capital city sparkled like a field of stars, reflecting on the water beneath. As the horizon touched the docking platform, massive doors opened, revealing the alien palace. It was enormous, built of translucent crystals that shifted colors with the light. Towers and spires jutted out in impossible angles, floating bridges connecting different levels. The palace seemed alive, as if it were breathing. A small delegation of Zytherian officials boarded the ship to greet him. They were tall, slender beings, with shimmering, iridescent skin. Their eyes were large, black, and reflective, giving them an intense, unreadable expression. Elias extended a hand, and one of the officials, who appeared to be the chief ambassador, took it lightly. "Welcome, human diplomat," the ambassador said, his voice melodic but firm. "The Queen herself awaits your arrival. She has prepared a ceremonial welcome. It is the highest honor we give to visitors." Elias inclined his head. "I am grateful for your hospitality. Humanity values this opportunity to meet the Zytherian people." The ambassador nodded, a faint shimmer of approval in his gaze. "Then, follow us. The ceremony begins shortly." As Elias walked through the corridors of the palace, he marveled at the intricate designs. The walls glowed softly, changing colors as he passed. Strange plants, with bioluminescent flowers, grew in suspended gardens. The air was fragrant and slightly warm, unlike anything he had experienced on human worlds. He realized that every detail of the palace seemed designed to impress and perhaps to test any visitor. Finally, they reached a vast chamber. It was circular, with a high domed ceiling that seemed to disappear into light. At the center, on a raised platform, stood the alien queen herself. She was taller than any human, her figure graceful and commanding. Her skin shimmered with a subtle golden glow, and her eyes reflected the colors of the palace around her. Elias felt a chill of awe. "Commander Elias Varn," the queen said, her voice clear and resonant. "You have come far to meet us. Humanity is a new presence in the galaxy, and we are curious to learn your ways." Elias bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, I am honored to meet you." The queen's lips curved into a faint smile. "You are wise to seek friendship, human. Trust is earned, not given. And in the Zytherian way, trust is measured in action, not words." She gestured to the chamber. Holographic images floated in the air, showing scenes of past visitors, of great councils, and of elaborate ceremonies. Elias realized this was not just a welcome, it was a demonstration of power and culture. Then the queen spoke words that startled him. "As part of our welcome, I offer you one night in the palace. It is the Scytherian custom to honor distinguished guests in this way. Do not misunderstand it, human. This night is a gift of trust, and it will show the strength of your spirit." Elias froze. The phrase, "one night," carried weight in human terms. But he quickly reminded himself that Scytherian culture was different. Misreading this could be disastrous. He took a deep breath. "Your Majesty, I am grateful for your honor," he said carefully. The queen inclined her head. "Then you shall see the palace as few outsiders have. But remember, human, this night is a test. It will reveal who you are, not just to me, but to all who watch." Elias was escorted to a private wing of the palace. The corridors were unlike anything he had imagined. Floors that seemed solid shimmered like liquid. Walls shifted subtly, creating new paths as he walked. He had to focus to avoid losing his sense of direction. Finally, he arrived at a chamber that looked like a human's idea of luxury, but with alien elegance. Soft light filled the room, and a large window overlooked the city below. There was a comfortable seating area, and a table with a variety of alien fruits and liquids. A small note rested on the table. "Eat, rest, and prepare. Tonight will test your mind, courage, and spirit. Lysara." Elias studied the note carefully. Clearly, the one night was not a casual invitation. He was being placed in a situation designed to measure him. A mix of anticipation and anxiety coursed through him. He spent some time walking along the balcony, gazing at the city. The floating towers shimmered in colors that changed like the aurora. He could see ships moving in patterns, possibly part of the ceremonial guard. Everything seemed both beautiful and alien. As night deepened, subtle vibrations in the palace hinted that the place itself was more than just a building. It responded to his presence, almost as if it could sense his thoughts. He realized that the Scytherians had designed the palace not just to impress, but to challenge. Suddenly, a soft voice echoed through the room. "Commander Varn, the night has begun." Elias turned and saw the queen herself enter the chamber. Moving with grace and purpose, she did not carry any weapons, yet her presence felt commanding. "This night will test your judgment, human," she said. "It is not about luxury or comfort. You will face puzzles, challenges, and choices that reflect your character. How you respond will shape the trust between our peoples." Elias nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will do my best to honor your customs and humanity's dignity." The queen's eyes glimmered. "Good." The chamber shifted. Walls moved, forming new passages. The ceiling glowed with constellations, and a soft hum filled the air. Elias realized this was not just a room, it was a living test, designed to respond to his actions. The first challenge appeared. A complex series of holographic symbols floated before him, forming a puzzle. Elias approached carefully, analyzing the patterns. It was clear that this test measured his ability to think under pressure, to adapt, and to observe carefully. Minutes passed, then hours. He worked tirelessly, combining logic with intuition. Each step revealed more of the palace's secrets. Strange doors opened, new symbols appeared, and subtle hints guided him. He felt exhausted, but determined. At one point, a voice whispered, "Do you trust yourself, human?" Elias froze. It was not the queen, but the palace itself speaking. He realized that this night would challenge not only his intellect, but his confidence and self-awareness. By the time dawn approached, Elias had completed the final puzzle. The chamber settled back into its original form. The test complete. He had proven his intelligence, calmness, and courage. The Queen appeared again, her expression thoughtful. You have done well, Commander Elias Varn. Many outsiders fail even the first trials. You have shown patience, courage, and understanding. These are the qualities we value. Many. Elias bowed, feeling relief and pride. Thank you, Your Majesty. I hope this proves humanity's worthiness as an ally. The Queen smiled faintly. This is only the beginning, human. Tomorrow, the true challenges of diplomacy will begin. But for tonight, know that you have earned our respect and our attention. As Elias prepared to rest, he realized that the Scytherian palace had given him more than tests. It had shown him the depth of their culture, the intricacy of their thinking, and the value they placed on trust and honor. He lay back, exhausted but determined. Humanity's first step into the Scytherian Empire had begun. And one night in the palace had already shown him that the galaxy was larger, stranger, and more challenging than he had ever imagined. Outside, the floating city shimmered as a new day approached, signaling that the future of human-Scytherian relations had just begun, and that Commander Elias Varn had survived the first test with courage, intelligence, and honor. The morning sun reflected off the crystal towers of the Scytherian capital, painting the city in shimmering gold and violet. Commander Elias Varn awoke in the palace chamber, his body still feeling the lingering tension of the previous night's trials. Though exhausted, his mind was alert. He had passed the first series of tests, but he knew the Queen's challenges were only beginning. Elias, dressed in the standard ceremonial attire, the Scytherians had provided a flowing tunic of silver-threaded fabric that shimmered as he moved. The clothing was comfortable, yet formal, designed to respect the palace's traditions. He glanced out the wide window of his chamber, marveling again at the city below. Ships glided smoothly through the air, moving in precise patterns. The entire world seemed alive, a testament to the Scytherians' mastery of art, technology, and discipline. A soft chime echoed through the chamber. Elias turned to see a holographic message floating before him. It was from the Queen. Commander Elias Varn, your next trials begin in the council wing. They will test your diplomacy, your perception, and your courage. Be ready. Lysara. 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 Elias inhaled deeply. Diplomacy, he knew, could be more dangerous than any physical challenge. Words had power, and misunderstandings could lead to mistrust, or worse. He left his chamber, following a winding corridor that seemed to change subtly as he walked. Walls shifted, showing new patterns, and the air felt charged with subtle energy. The palace itself seemed alive, guiding him toward the council wing. When he arrived, the chamber was vast, circular, and filled with a soft, golden light. Around him stood Scytherian nobles, tall and elegant, their eyes reflecting curiosity and caution. Elias realized that these individuals were likely watching him closely, assessing every movement, every expression. The Queen entered the chamber, her presence commanding attention. She wore a robe of deep sapphire, adorned with delicate crystalline patterns. Her eyes locked on Elias as she spoke. Commander Varn, she began, her voice calm but firm. You have passed the initial challenges of the palace. But true understanding requires more than intelligence. You must navigate the complexities of our politics and show that humans can act with wisdom and fairness. Elias nodded. I will do my best, Your Majesty. The Queen gestured, and the chamber shifted. A long, holographic table appeared at the center, displaying maps, trade routes, and planetary data. Elias noticed that the council members' expressions changed subtly, some whispering among themselves. He realized this was not only a test of diplomacy, but a simulation of real Scytherian politics. Some members of my court, the Queen continued, doubt the value of an alliance with humanity. Others are curious, You will speak with them, answer their questions, and demonstrate that humans can be trusted. Your words must be careful, your reasoning sound, and your intentions clear. Elias stepped forward, his posture confident yet respectful. He knew that trust could not be demanded, it had to be earned. The first counselor approached. She was tall, with iridescent skin that shifted between gold and green. Her eyes studied Elias intently. "Human," she said, her tone sharp. "Your people claim to be peaceful and wise. Yet history shows that humans often act out of greed or fear. Why should we place our trust in you?" Elias met her gaze steadily. "Your caution is understandable. Humanity is not perfect, but we have learned that cooperation brings strength. Conflict weakens all parties. My presence here is proof that humans value diplomacy and seek partnerships, not dominance." The counselor's expression softened slightly, though a flicker of skepticism remained. Another counselor stepped forward, his skin a deep blue that shimmered like liquid metal. "Your species is known for boldness. But boldness can be dangerous. How can we be certain that humans will act responsibly in times of crisis?" Elias considered his response carefully. Responsibility comes from understanding and preparation. Humans adapt quickly and learn from experience. When faced with a challenge, we assess, plan, and act thoughtfully. Our history shows both failures and successes, but every lesson strengthens our ability to cooperate with others. The Queen watched silently, her expression unreadable. The counselors nodded slowly, some whispering among themselves. Elias felt the weight of their scrutiny, yet he remained composed. As the discussions continued, Elias noticed subtle hints of intrigue. A few counselors exchanged glances that seemed secretive, and one whispered to another while pretending to consult the holographic table. It became clear that some nobles were testing him not just for diplomacy, but to see if he could recognize deception. The Queen spoke again. "Commander, observe carefully. Not all challenges are stated openly. Some must be perceived through intuition and judgment." Suddenly, the chamber shifted again. Holographic doors appeared along the walls, leading to new areas. A soft voice echoed through the room. "Follow the path that reveals the truth." Elias hesitated briefly, then stepped toward one of the doors. He entered a narrow corridor, walls glowing faintly, with patterns that seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. The corridor led him to a smaller chamber, where a holographic projection of the palace appeared. The projection revealed the secret movements of certain nobles, schemes, and plans that could undermine alliances or create unrest. Elias realized that his task was no longer just diplomacy. It was understanding the hidden currents of power within the Scytherian court. He spent hours analyzing the projections, carefully tracing alliances and rivalries. Each decision he made affected the simulations, showing him potential outcomes of different choices. The palace was teaching him not only about Scytherian culture, but about leadership, perception, and trust. When he returned to the council wing, he was ready to present his findings. "Your Majesty," he said, "I have observed patterns of influence and subtle schemes among the counselors. I believe that with careful negotiation and transparency, humans and Scytherians can work together to strengthen our alliance and avoid unnecessary conflicts." The counselors murmured among themselves, some nodding in approval. One noble, who had been skeptical from the start, stepped forward. "You have insight beyond expectation, human. Perhaps your species is more capable than we imagined." The Queen's expression softened, and she spoke with a note of approval. "You are learning quickly, Commander. Insight, observation, and integrity are the qualities we value. This night has tested more than your mind, it has tested your character." Elias felt a sense of relief, but he knew the night was far from over. The palace had more lessons to teach, and the true challenge of diplomacy, the art of understanding and trust, was only beginning. After the council session, the Queen led Elias to a quiet terrace overlooking the city. The sun had set, and the towers glowed with soft light. Ships moved gracefully through the air, reflecting in the rivers below. "Commander Varn," the Queen said, her voice gentle, "you have done well. But know this: trust is earned in moments of difficulty and choice. Your actions tomorrow will be watched, and your decisions will shape the future of our peoples." Elias nodded. "I understand, Your Majesty. I will continue to act with honesty, respect, and intelligence." The Queen's eyes shimmered. "Good. For tonight, you may rest. But remember, the palace itself is always watching. Every decision, every thought, can influence the outcome of our alliance." Elias retired to his chamber, reflecting on the day's experiences. The tests had been challenging, requiring not only intelligence, but perception and intuition. He realized that the Scytherians measured worth in ways humans rarely considered, through understanding, adaptability, and integrity. As he prepared to sleep, he felt a subtle pulse in the room, as if the palace itself acknowledged his progress. He understood now that the one night offered by the Queen was far more than hospitality. It was a living lesson in trust, diplomacy, and respect. Hours later, Elias awoke to a soft, melodic chime. The palace seemed alive, corridors shifting, as if inviting him to continue the journey. A faint voice echoed, "The next phase begins when you are ready. Courage and wisdom will guide you, human." Elias took a deep breath, standing tall. The challenges had been difficult, yet he felt prepared. He knew that understanding the Scytherians required patience, observation, and careful thought. He stepped into the corridor, aware that each choice would be observed, each action measured. The palace was alive, the Queen's presence ever near, and the counselor's eyes, unseen, but watching. As he moved deeper into the palace, Elias realized the true meaning of the Queen's offer. It was not a single night of comfort, but a test of humanity itself. How he acted, how he perceived, and how he responded would define the future relationship between humans and Scytherians. The night stretched on, filled with challenges that tested his intellect, perception, and courage. He faced simulations of crises, intricate diplomatic negotiations, and puzzles that required insight into Scytherian psychology. Each success earned him further respect. Each failure taught him humility. By the time the first light of dawn appeared, Elias had emerged stronger, wiser, and more confident. He had gained not only the Queen's respect, but an understanding of the intricate web of politics, tradition, and trust that defined the Scytherian Empire. The Queen appeared once more, her eyes reflecting pride and approval. "Commander Elias Varn, you have shown courage, insight, and honor. Your actions tonight have proven that humans can be trusted. But remember, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and the future will test you in ways you cannot yet imagine." Elias bowed deeply. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will honor the trust you have placed in me." The Queen smiled faintly, and with a wave of her hand, the chamber returned to its serene form. The city below glowed softly in the morning light, peaceful, yet alive, with potential. Elias knew that the night had changed him. He had faced the unknown, navigated challenges beyond his imagination, and proven that humanity could meet the highest standards of diplomacy and honor. As he prepared for the day ahead, he felt a quiet determination. The Scytherians were proud, intelligent, and complex. But he now understood that humans, too, had strengths that could earn respect across the galaxy. And in that realization, Elias found hope. Humanity had a place among the stars, and the Queen's one night of challenge had shown him exactly how to claim it. The day dawned over the Scytherian capital, with colors unlike anything on Earth. The crystal towers reflected shades of violet, gold, and turquoise as ships glided between the floating spires. Commander Elias Varn stood on the terrace of the palace, looking over the city below. The previous night's trials had tested his mind, courage, and perception. Now, the final stage of his journey awaited, cementing human-Scytherian relations through the most delicate challenge of all public diplomacy and political trust. The Queen's voice called to him softly. "Commander, it is time. The final session of this ceremonial welcome begins now. All eyes will be upon you." Elias straightened his shoulders and entered the grand chamber. Today, the council wing was filled to capacity. Nobles, advisors, and observers from distant star systems crowded the circular hall, their iridescent forms reflecting the soft, golden light. The air hummed with anticipation, a tension that made every movement feel weighty. Queen Lysara stood at the center, her sapphire robe glinting with crystalline patterns. "Commander Elias Varn," she began, her voice steady, "you have passed trials of intellect, perception, and courage. But now, your integrity and understanding will be tested in the eyes of our people. This session will determine the strength of trust between humans and Scytherians." Elias nodded. "I am ready, Your Majesty." The first noble stepped forward. He was tall, with deep blue skin that shimmered faintly like liquid metal. "Human," he said. "Words are easy. Many species promise friendship but fail in action. Why should we place the fate of our alliances in your hands?" Elias looked calmly at the noble, keeping his posture composed. "I understand your concern," he said. "Trust is earned through consistent action, not words alone. Humanity has made mistakes, yes, but we have also learned to value cooperation, understanding, and respect. My presence here demonstrates that humans are willing to act in good faith and uphold our promises." A murmur passed through the audience. Some nobles nodded subtly. Others remained skeptical. Elias sensed that the real test was not just in his words, but in how he responded to subtle challenges. A second noble, her skin glowing gold-green, stepped forward. "Your species is bold," she said. "Boldness can lead to great victories, but also to disaster. If humans are placed in positions of power, how can we be certain you will not act recklessly?" Elias thought for a moment. Boldness could indeed be dangerous, but he had to frame it in terms the Scytherians would understand. "Boldness is tempered by wisdom and awareness," he replied. "Humans adapt quickly, assess situations, and learn from experience. When bold action is necessary, we combine courage with planning and analysis. Risk without understanding is foolish, but measured risk can bring growth and strength to alliances." The Queen observed silently, her eyes reflecting both scrutiny and approval. Elias felt a quiet pressure in the room, as though every thought and gesture mattered. He realized that the nobles were testing more than knowledge, they were testing judgment, ethics, and the ability to perceive hidden intentions. Suddenly, the chamber lights shifted, and holographic projections appeared along the walls. They depicted past decisions of Scytherian diplomats, situations where judgment had succeeded or failed. Elias noticed subtle annotations showing hidden agendas, failed negotiations, and moments where trust had been betrayed. The Queen spoke, her voice resonating clearly. "Commander Varn, study these scenarios. Each presents choices that shape the future. You must navigate them wisely, balancing honesty, strategy, and understanding. Your responses will demonstrate the depth of human diplomacy." Elias studied the projections carefully. One scenario showed a neighboring system in conflict, where diplomacy could prevent war, but required careful negotiation and compromise. Another depicted a trade dispute that could escalate if cultural customs were ignored. Each test demanded careful reasoning, insight into alien behavior, and a deep understanding of consequences. He approached the first hologram. Using the interface, he proposed solutions based on observation, logic, and empathy. His strategies emphasized collaboration, fairness, and long-term stability. Each choice caused the projections to shift, revealing new paths and outcomes. The nobles watched, intrigued by his reasoning and approach. When he moved to the second scenario, Elias noticed a subtle trap. Some Scytherian advisors had left hidden biases in the simulation, designed to test whether he could detect manipulation. He paused, analyzed the situation, and adjusted his approach. By choosing honesty and transparency, he revealed the hidden agendas while maintaining diplomatic tact. A soft murmur spread through the chamber. Elias realized he had successfully navigated not only the simulations but the subtle political tests embedded within them. His actions had demonstrated human insight, adaptability, and integrity. The Queen's voice echoed through the chamber. "Commander Elias Varn, you have shown understanding, fairness, and courage in the face of complex challenges. These qualities are the foundation of trust and respect in the Scytherian Empire. Your actions tonight have honored humanity and proven our people can work together." One of the skeptical nobles stepped forward, her expression thoughtful. "You have shown wisdom beyond what we expected. Perhaps humans are indeed capable of partnership on a grand scale." Another noble, previously silent, nodded. "Your insight into subtle motives and hidden intentions is impressive. The humans may be more adaptable than we imagined." Elias felt a sense of relief, but he did not relax completely. He knew that trust must be reinforced through actions, not just words. The final phase of the Queen's challenge was not yet complete. The Queen gestured to a massive central platform. "Commander, your final task is to demonstrate diplomacy, not only in theory, but in practice. A simulated crisis awaits. Its outcome will determine the confidence of our people in humans." The platform shifted, and a three-dimensional projection of a distant planetary system appeared. It depicted a fragile alliance on the verge of collapse. Trade had stopped, communication had faltered, and tensions threatened to erupt into conflict. Elias realized that this was a simulation, but one designed to test leadership, judgment, and the ability to act under pressure. He studied the projection, noting the perspectives of each faction. By addressing concerns openly, proposing compromises, and emphasizing shared goals, he guided the simulation toward resolution. He carefully navigated cultural sensitivities, demonstrated patience, and made decisions that balanced risk and reward. Minutes passed, feeling like hours. Finally, the projection stabilized. All factions were aligned, tensions eased, and trade routes reopened. The chamber filled with soft murmurs of approval. Elias had successfully managed a complex scenario that required empathy, strategy, and insight. The Queen approached, her expression one of pride and satisfaction. "Commander Varn, you have completed the final challenge. You have demonstrated not only intelligence and courage, but also understanding, integrity, and respect. Humanity has earned the trust of the Scytherian Empire." The chamber erupted in applause. Nobles, advisors, and observers alike acknowledged his achievements. Elias felt a mixture of relief, pride, and humility. He had survived the tests of the palace, the Queen, and the Council, and in doing so, had proven the value of humanity in the eyes of the Scytherians. The Queen extended her hand. "You have shown what humans can offer: adaptability, insight, and honor. These qualities will strengthen the bonds between our peoples. From this day forward, you are recognized as a trusted ambassador of humanity." Elias bowed deeply, feeling the weight of the moment. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will continue to uphold the trust you have placed in me and work to ensure lasting friendship between our peoples." The Queen's eyes softened. "Remember, Commander, this is only the beginning. Trust and understanding must be nurtured continually. But you have proven that humans are capable of rising to the challenges of diplomacy and interstellar cooperation." As Elias left the council wing, He walked through the palace corridors with renewed confidence. The city outside shimmered in the morning light, vibrant and alive. He understood now that the Queen's offer of one night had been more than a ceremony. It was a demonstration of trust, a test of character, and a bridge between two civilizations. Over the next days, Elias worked closely with the Queen and her council. The Zitherians began to view humans as equals in strategy, negotiation, and diplomacy. Trade agreements were discussed, cultural exchanges were planned, and humanity's reputation in the galaxy grew stronger. Elias often reflected on the lessons of that night. The palace had tested him in ways he could never have anticipated. He had learned that true diplomacy required not only intelligence but integrity, patience, and the ability to perceive subtle currents of thought and intention. He had seen that humans, when acting with honor, could earn respect among even the most advanced and proud civilizations. One evening, as the sun set over the glowing towers, Elias stood once more on the terrace of the palace. The city stretched below him, alive with movement and light. He felt a quiet satisfaction, knowing that humanity had taken its first real step into the galaxy, and that this step had been recognized and respected by one of its most intelligent and powerful civilizations. Queen Lasara appeared beside him, her presence serene yet commanding. Commander Elias Varn, humanity has much to offer the galaxy. You have shown courage, wisdom, and honor. These qualities will shape the future of our peoples. Elias nodded. Thank you, Your Majesty. I am proud to serve humanity, and honored to work alongside your people. The Queen's eyes glimmered. Go forward with confidence, Commander. The galaxy watches, and humans have shown that they are capable of greatness. This night, this test, has proven one thing clearly. Even among the stars, humanity can stand with pride, wisdom, and strength. Elias looked out over the city, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also hope and purpose. The challenges had been immense, but humans had risen to meet them, and in the heart of the Zitherian Empire, he had found recognition, respect, and the beginning of a lasting alliance. As the light of the twin suns faded into the gentle glow of evening, Elias knew that the Queen's welcome, the one night in the palace, had been more than a ceremony. It had been a demonstration of trust, a test of character, and a moment that would forever mark humanity's place among the stars. And with that realization, Commander Elias Varn understood the true meaning of honor, diplomacy, and the extraordinary potential of his people.